are here because of the Wedding Blog Awards. You guys have been here judging and we've been filming, and it's been very interesting to listen. But we do have some students who aspire to be wedding bloggers rather than planners. What advice do you have for somebody looking to start their own wedding blog?
I think one of the things that's really important, we've really discussed this going through some of the entries today, is to have some sort of niche carved out for you. And this would be true of starting up any business or any blog, I think just deciding what that is, or like figuring out along the way what that is, and then being true to that is what makes a blog kind of unique. And a lot of the blogs we were looking at today, we knew, this is the blog that you'd go to if you're planning a wedding abroad, or if you want a more vintage style wedding, or if DIY is totally your thing, then this is a good blog to go to for
know who you are and what you're aiming to do and who your audience are.
I think that's what's really, really important. And one thing that's quite interesting that some of the other judges were saying today is about perhaps not putting yourself so much into a wedding blog the way perhaps you would if it was a personal style blog, because actually weddings are so personal that if you don't want to necessarily hear too much opinion on something, like obviously your style is stamped across it by the very fact you're featuring DIY or festival style weddings or whatever. That's your take on it, and if it gets...
But it's how you promote that, it's how you actually put that out there, I guess that's the key.
Yeah, definitely. And with wedding blogs in particular, obviously there's a huge focus on imagery and that sort of, that clean design. Everything in the world of weddings, whether it's magazines or online, is very fantastical in terms of it is this like beautiful fairy tale kind of journey. But then at the same time, if there's nothing wrong with, and I'm getting married this year, so I'm like obsessed with the wedding magazines and wedding blogs, is if you want to go down the side of being more practical, and actually it's like, you know what, there's enough wedding blogs that have the beautiful kind of fairy tale weddings. I'm going to write about like how to deal with your guest list kind of issues or the more like practical advice, then that's a great thing to kind of feature too. It's just deciding which is it, and then running with that kind of idea, and not in the beginning like, my God, just don't spend your whole life comparing it to the more established bloggers, because if someone might have 5-6 years head start, and like that counts for a huge amount. So it's you have to, in the beginning of any blog, be very consistent with posting. If you've decided what your editorial calendar is, if it's 3 times a week or 3 times a day, it doesn't matter if it's at the lower end of content, but it needs to be that every week. You can't have these bursts of, I've had 7 ideas today and that's 7 blog posts done, and then then have 2 weeks of no new updates. So
consistency.
Decide that kind of, how you want to plan out your editorial, and then be quite consistent with it. I think it's really, really important.
Well, that's great advice from somebody who is a huge blogger. So, all right, wrapping things up, what is the best piece of business advice you've ever been given?
I mean, you can spend your whole life kind of reading business books and getting ideas. But one thing I remember being told, like super early on, is that sleep is overrated. And I found that a very kind of funny piece of advice, because I think it's kind of the best advice and the worst advice as well, like in some regards, because I think if whatever your idea or concept isn't something that makes you want to work till 3 o'clock in the morning to get stuff done, then you're in the wrong thing. It has to be something that you're totally passionate about.
Fire and really sets you going.
And in that sense, I've always, when I speak to like entrepreneurs, say you've got to imagine it as your business or your concept as a newborn baby that's going to keep you up, and demand everything from you 24/7. But unlike a baby that might get a bit easier after 6 months, it's probably going to be the crying, screaming baby for a few years, and it's not going to become a toddler you can chat with and enjoy very quickly.
No,
so
generally not.
If you're not able to do the staying up till 4 a.m. crying over figuring out legal stuff in the beginning, then my God, 2 years down the line, you're not going to be able to do it, because it will only get harder often. So if the passion isn't there from day one, then you're going to struggle. So it needs to be an idea that you can't stop thinking about, and that's when you get to that point, you'll know you've got the business you want to focus on.
Poppy, that's great advice. I like the way you put that. Thank you very much. And thank you for sharing all that advice with us. I think certainly our audience and certainly our students at the Academy can learn a lot from you. So thank you for stopping by. I've really enjoyed chatting to you, and I'm looking forward to meeting you again at the Blog Awards.
Yes, can't wait. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you.